Moving on to preview number 27 of 32. Have we really got that far? 27 of 32 on this Thursday morning. This is bet.NOLA.com, powered by the Datitude Podcast. And I am Jim Derry, and today we are talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. How are you supposed to say that anyway? People say Jaguars, Jaguar. I don't know. Does it matter? This team has been irrelevant for so long. Call them whatever you want. Is this the year that things change? A new head coach in Doug Peterson, after a little time off, comes from the Philadelphia Eagles, won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Can he turn things around in Jacksonville? Well, I will say this. It certainly can't be let's be nice, the crap show that Urban Meyer put together last year before being fired, before finishing out his first season in Jacksonville. I'm not a big Doug Peterson fan, but it can't be like that, right? So the fact that Jacksonville was able to show some signs here and there, and they bring in their number one overall pick and Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback from Clemson, who won a national championship, made it to another national championship before Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers handed him his tail between his legs. I don't want no pun intended. Goes from being one kind of cat to another. And Trevor Lawrence, well, he kind of showed his rookie woes last year. But this year, he's got more help, and he certainly has an offensive-minded coach that can help him take the next step. The question is, will he? Travis Etienne, the running back from FSU, excuse me. He's from Louisiana, so that's, you can see why it's easy to get mixed up. Travis Etienne, will he be able to stay healthy through a full season and do what all those fantasy owners thought he was going to be able to do? Or will he need James Robinson's help once again? Nobody's talking about James Robinson, fantasy fans. James Robinson could be a steal in fantasy drafts once again because this Jaguars offense is going to be better. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones as the top two wide receivers. And Christian Kirk, look, coming over from Arizona, is he a number one wide receiver? I always talk about, when you talk about a receiving core, I always talk about how that number one receiver is an important distinction to me, especially with a team that has a West Coast offense. And Christian Kirk showed signs that he could be a number one receiver in Arizona. Never really got the chance. Well, now he's getting a chance. So I'm not certain that we know what we're getting there. You know that Marvin Jones is certainly good enough to be a number two receiver because he showed throughout his time that he can take that position and thrive with it. But you look at the overall numbers for the Jags as we put them on the screen here. Their over-under win total now is 6.5. Obviously, they're a popular team with bettors, especially amateur bettors, thinking that this team is going to be that much improved. And again, they play in the AFC South. It's not the toughest division in the world, but you do have the Colts and Texans. Both of those teams are going to be tough to beat. Can they steal one? Last year, they were 3-14. Are they 4 wins better than they were last year? That is the question. And to figure it out, let's go to the schedule. At Washington, certainly a winnable game. 3 of their first 4 games on the road. This is not a team that is set up for success to get started here. At Washington, home for Indianapolis, at Los Angeles Chargers, at Philadelphia. Again, there easily could be 0-4 here. I mean, Washington is no juggernaut. They could win that game. It wouldn't be a surprise if they won it. The look-ahead line is somewhere in the 3 range, but they're going to be underdogs for sure in the Indianapolis Chargers and then the Eagles game before they get a little mini break against the Texans at home where they'll be favored. But then they go back on the road, finish up time with the Colts, who are right now the division favorite. So you're looking at a potential 1-5 start before playing Giants, Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs. I mean, look. You going through, and we'll take time to leave the schedule on the screen here and look at the rest of the schedules. Ravens, at Lions, at Tennessee. They get Tennessee twice in their last 5 games. And in between there is Dallas. Oh, Jacksonville. 6.5 seems like quite a lot. Again, another team I'm not going to play because they have a wide range of records they could have. They could win 3 games again. It wouldn't surprise me. They could win 4 games all the way to 7 or 8. I mean, maybe if they strike an upset in one of these early games and get some momentum, and Doug Peterson instills confidence, and Trevor Lawrence looks like who he's supposed to look like, and Travis Etienne stays healthy, and Christian Kirk is a number one wide receiver. You see where I'm going with this? It's a whole lot of ifs, and I'm not betting on the Jags. If I got to take anything, I'm taking the under. I don't like the Jags. I'm not betting on or against them, though. Very interested to see what our expert has to say here. We're going to go right to him. Moving along with the Jacksonville Jaguars, our Thursday morning here on bet.nola.com, powered by the Datitude Podcast. And as we do each morning throughout the first, 26, we're on number 27 here. God, I'm losing track. We're almost done here. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Adam Chernoff of covers.com here to tell me whether I'm right. Hopefully he doesn't disagree with me as much as he did yesterday, but we'll see what happens. The Jags are an interesting team, Adam, to me. And it's the first time I've said that in a while. I think we all knew that they were going to go through some growing pains. I don't think any of us liked their coaching situation going into last year. And now they have an interesting change with Doug Peterson. And I have very mixed reactions on Doug Peterson. I think I'm not a huge fan of his style, but he did win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, you got to give him that. But now he goes into a situation where I think this team actually has some talent. I don't love this 6.5 over under. If someone forced me to put a gun to my head and said, you got to bet it, I would probably lean under, but only probably because of a bias. I think the Jags have a wide range of records they could have. They could win 3 or 4, or they could win 7 or 8. I'm just not sure which, and I'm not willing to go out there and put money on it.
I'm not going to say that I have a bet one way or the other, because I don't. But what I will say, and something I encourage everyone watching to think about as they go into the season with the Jags, there's 2 ways you can think about teams, and that's sort of what you hear in the media and then what you see from an improvement or decline scenario. And what I mean by that is, if you listen to a lot of the reactions on Jacksonville from the media and what we're hearing in previews, a lot is focused on how much was paid for certain players, how much was spent in free agency. From a betting standpoint and as a bettor, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever a receiver is paid or anything has no relevance to betting. You're going week by week. It doesn't matter. What we have to recognize is true here is almost everything about this Jags team, offense, defense, coaching staff, is better than it was a year ago. And that's what's really important. It cannot get worse than what Urban Meyer was trying to lead the first 12 or 13 weeks of the season. That no longer exists. The difference between Meyer to Peterson and just how the team is being run and managed is night and day. So that's first and foremost. Second, Trevor Lawrence came into the league last year as one of the highly touted prospects that we've seen in a long time, probably since Andrew Luck. That talent did not go away. That talent was just wildly mismanaged and put in a position to fail rather than a position to succeed. The weapons around Lawrence this year increased dramatically. Like, he's got so much more to work with and a much better system all the way through. So that offense is going to be better. Defensively, it is a very good front seven and a secondary that can get by. And that is going to look a lot better than it did a year ago. And it still looked pretty good last season, all things considered. Now, the question is obviously the price point, as you mentioned. We know it's going to be better, but how much better does it get? Because for a team to go from where the Jags were a year ago to all of a sudden winning 9 or 10 games and sneaking the division, that's a tough leap to make. And so while I think the team is going to be better, and that's what bettors need to think about, I'm not running to take any preseason futures with some uncertainty, but I think the Jags are a very interesting team week to week.
Any chance, and I know how we talked yesterday about how much you love the Colts, any chance you think there's any value on a plus 650 to win this division? Because overall, this division is weak. I mean, I said the wide range of records I think this team could have. Really, maybe the ceiling is even higher than I'm stating. Any value there?
The problem is I really like the Colts a ton, and so I don't have a lot of upside to add on a Jags future within the division, considering what I already have on the Colts. But I don't disagree with that sentiment. If you're not as high on the Colts, the Jags, in my opinion, would be the second best bet. Or in that case, if you don't agree with the Colts price, the best bet within this division by far. Because I think Tennessee, as we'll talk about tomorrow, is wildly
I can't wait.
overpriced.
I can't wait. See, he's giving spoiler alert. Usually it's me who's giving spoiler alerts. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. I think Friday is going to be worth watching because if you watched yesterday, then you kind of probably know who you think I think is going to win the division. And you probably know who Adam thinks isn't going to win the division. So maybe we'll have another fun one on Friday like we had on Thursday. Tomorrow, the Tennessee Titans.
Let's get to it now.
Adam Chernoff, let's do it here.